A crazy woman draws a picture of a place while in a mental asylum. In her hand, she holds the socks of a baby. Her observers watch her from behind a glass. She collapses, and they rush to check on her. They wonder about the place she has fervently drawn on the wall. Zoom in on Michele, riding to school through the same street, which looks very much like the street the crazy woman was drawing. In class, the teacher is trying to restore order when the police, led by Michele's mom, Celinzi, barge in. The officer then informs the class that one of their classmates, Martino, has disappeared from home and cannot be found. She requests that anyone with information help find him. Before she leaves, she is reminded by her deputy of Michele's lunch, and she brings the lunch bag to him, drawing laughs from his friends. Class continues, but before he takes the math test, Michele gets a nosebleed. He excuses himself and rushes to the bathroom. As he cleans up, the school bell rings, signaling the end of class. Sensing danger, he rushes to hide in the toilet, and then Casadio and Volpi, his classmates, knock on the door to come to bully him. They chase him through the halls with paint guns and manage to get one shot through in the hallway. He falls flat and is the laughingstock of the entire school. He goes back home and finds their housekeeper cooking dinner. Candela, their house help's daughter, rushes to greet him in her bee suit. He enters his room and immediately turns on his computer, searching for Stella Morrison, a classmate he has a crush on. Candela bursts into the room and wants to be shown what he is browsing. He immediately closes his computer. She goes bouncing on his bed while he gets the courage to send Stella a friend request on Facebook. Candela opens the lid to release a bed from the wall, and Michele has to rush to save her from being crushed. She praises him for being a hero like Superman. Michele goes to a costume shop to buy a costume for Stella's party. A mysterious fat man eating a boiled egg watches him come up. They make eye contact before the shopkeeper comes back down. The shopkeeper, a young boy his age, comes down and gives him a Chinese suit called Xiao, which possesses unknown superpowers. He takes it. He wears the suit but doesn't like it. His mother gets home and sees him seated on the couch, pouting. She convinces him to go to the party after all, since Stella would be very hurt. He gets to the party, and Stella is the first to approach him. As they get talking, another of his bully classmates turns on the TV where videos from his phone show him stalking Stella. Stella confronts him, and he runs away scared. He finds a room and shuts himself up in it. The whole party follows after him and bangs on the door. Michele closes his eyes and wishes fervently that he disappears. As the banging gets louder, he closes his eyes. When the party gets into the room, the window is open and Michele is nowhere to be seen. The next morning, Michele wakes up and begins to get ready for school, unaware that he is invisible. His dog only looks shocked. His mother arrives to hasten him but fails to notice him. He leaves a note for her on the bed after leaving early. He wears a full bodysuit to school because he is afraid of being bullied again. He almost heads back home, but then Casadio, one of his bullies, decides to go to school naked but invisible to play a prank on him. He goes to his class and steals the paint gun from Casadio and then shoots the spray on his back. Casadio is immediately suspended. He steals his math test from the staff room and does it. And he goes after Volpi in his tennis finals and makes him fail his shots. A scared Volpi cries to his demanding father that something was wrong at court, making him lose his shots. Alone in the locker room, he scares Volpi away from the locker room. He then joins the ladies in the bathroom as they bathe, but one of them accidentally throws a towel at him, and his figure is seen. When the towel is removed, his powers become undone, and he is taken to the principal. His mother comes to pick him up. She does not understand how he ended up in the girls' bathroom, but she decides to take him out for a snack. A psychologist is brought to school to teach the kids about the importance of speaking up. Michele has to run out of class again after his powers begin to come on. He goes back home and finds Candela in his room again. He tries to chase her out of the room, but she lies and remains in the room, seeing him as invisible. She screams out loud. She then tries to persuade him to become a superhero. The police are trying to again find another missing boy, Volpi, who disappeared after his tennis match defeat. Inspector Celinzi gets home and begins talking to her mother about Michele and how he has been acting out. Michele hears all of this while invisible and runs out of the house. He goes swinging by the beach, and Stella, who happens to be taking a stroll, sees a swing swinging alone. She takes the swing next and begins to talk to him. She imagines him to be an imaginary friend, and they promise to meet again. He goes to her place one night, and they almost kiss before he runs away. At home, Candela urges him to come clean with her. He decides to take the dog as an excuse and go confess to her at the school where she is training. Stella's supervisor has just taken a short coffee break when someone shoots her with a dart and kidnaps her. The kidnapper meets Michele outside, and he tries to stop him but fails. He drives away with her. The police later arrive, including his mom, and he informs them of what happened. Stella is being tested for supernatural abilities by an unknown group in the meantime. Michele goes home and wants to don his suit and go and save Stella, but he cannot find it anywhere. He finds it in the washroom, shrunken in size. He has Candela wear it to test the powers, but she does not turn invisible. He runs out of the house, screaming to his mother that she has ruined his suit. He cycles to the beach and meets a blind man who has been watching him. He tells him that he is his true father, having given him up to the inspector for adoption. He is Russian and was one of a select few people who had developed superpowers and were taken by the Russian government. Michele's mother was particularly noteworthy for using her powers without side effects. When Michele was born, they decided to run away. Michele's mother stayed behind to hold their pursuers, and she was shot dead. He left a young Michele with the inspector, who was a single woman wanting a child. On the other side, the inspector informs the psychologist that Michele is adopted, to which he sounds surprised. She gets a call about Michele being at the harbor and goes with the psychologist to pick him up. When asked, Michele keeps quiet about being with his father. The psychologist decides to escort the boy home. However, Michele has already read his mind and sees that he wants to kidnap him. He dashes back to his room, donning the small, invisible suit his father had made for him. He wears it, and they begin a cat-and-mouse game with the psychologist in the house. He manages to escape through the balcony and runs away, but the psychologist is still hot on his tail. He finds Casadio, his bully, on a motorbike and urges him to get him away from the place. They ride onto an abandoned street. Michele then reveals his powers to Casadio. Stella is released by the kidnappers and taken into a room where Martino and Volpi are being held. They decide to escape through the roof, and everyone holds up Stella, who escapes through the pipe. She then finds a searchlight and sends out a signal. Casadio and Michele run to the site and find Stella being taken hostage again. He manages to rescue the trio, but he has to go back with Stella to rescue an old man she says she saw being held up. However, it is a trap, and Stella turns out to be a puppet of the old man who has mind control powers. Stella is taken hostage, and the submarine begins its descent underwater where they will go back to Russia. The old man tells of how Michele will be reunited with his mom, but he does not want to be separated from Stella. In his rage, he lets out a sonic wave, which buys him enough time to get into the capsule where Stella is being sent above water, and they return up the water. They are rescued by sailors, and Michele comes clean about his powers to the inspector. However, his father clears all their memories later. The inspector takes credit for finding the missing children, and everything returns to normal. Candela, however, still remembers everything. In the last scene, it is revealed that Michele's father had escaped with 2 children, one of whom was a girl. Also, Michele's mother is alive and is now the head of the paramilitary group that tortured them. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. If you like this video, please consider subscribing to our channel. I'll be back with another interesting movie recap. Until then, take care.